Saints fans, welcome back to the Saints TV podcast. Well, that was more like it, wasn't it? That was what we were looking for. Hungry team, lot of effort, lot of hard work, 2-point win. We finally won a close one.
Against the ladder leaders, baby.
Oh, man. We're G'd up. We're all G'd up today. Bloody great. Lads, how are we feeling?
I want to go straight to this guy.
Okay, well, first of all, lids off.
Lids off?
Nowhere in sight.
Yeah.
And second of all, we went against the narrative because there's a lot of Saints fans out there who don't really like Pride Game because we take it too literally and get dominated by 22 other blokes. We've done that for about 7 years. But this year, changed things
so
up.
I did not see that coming.
That was subtle. But
Did you like that,
I
did
like
you?
that. I like
Yeah,
that.
changed things up, changed the narrative. I don't think anyone would have picked that, even the most avid Saints supporters. It was great to see. Great to see.
Unbelievable. Also, talk about your outfit for today before we move on.
Please explain.
Well, for people listening online, when we have a great win, I get the pairs out, which is basically St Kilda dreadlocks. And it has a little braid in it, which was very kindly done by a strange man in a Gold Coast outfit at the Gold Coast game at Marvel Stadium. So, there's the story behind it.
Unbelievable.
I don't know what else to say. I look ridiculous, but it's great.
Strange Gold Coast, man. Maybe he can come on the podcast one day.
Yeah, I'll try and find him on LinkedIn or something.
Jakey, how are you
Good luck,
feeling,
Charm.
buddy?
I'm good, mate. I'm good. It's been a good Monday. It's been the best Monday of the year, I think. It's been... Yeah, sitting with you and the fam yesterday. Level 2 was unexpected. It was... That's what we needed.
Yeah.
As Saints fans. It's been a tough week for multiple reasons. The form, criticism of the coach, of certain players, of our form, where we're going, no man's land, all that stuff. And then you see us pull that out. And it's like, there's something there. There's a pulse. There's a future. There's a light at the end of the tunnel. And, it was nice. You don't want to get too carried away with these wins, but you just got to sit back and go, I love that.
Yeah. I think, you don't want to read too much into it, like you're saying, but at the same time, there is something to be said there. I think it shows that we have been capable all year. It's just putting the right pieces in the right place, having the right troops out there, all that sort of stuff. But I suppose, how are you guys reading this game? Like, what are your thoughts about the team as a whole coming off of beating, the ladder leaders?
Well, the obvious thing is our best is good enough.
Yeah.
And that's the thing that stands out. But the thing we have to do is bridge that gap between our worst and our best because it's pretty cavernous. Like if we compare our best and our worst games this year, it's day and night.
Yeah.
But our best is good enough. And Sydney didn't have a bad day. They just didn't convert. They didn't capitalise. We did. That's the difference in the game. It's a game of inches.
Did we see our worst yesterday at any point?
I think for 6 minutes,
You
potentially.
think, was that our worst or was that Sydney going absolutely berserk?
I think it was pressure we couldn't match. I don't think it was bad. I just think we were unable.
Yeah.
They clicked into another gear and we couldn't do anything because that's what they do. They tear you apart.
Yeah.
They're sitting level with you for most of the game. They go up another level and they just decimate you.
They don't tear Port apart, though.
Port can never be torn
You
apart.
can never tear them apart.
Anyway.
I think it shows, though, that we've got blokes that are actually hungry, that want to compete no matter what. Arguably, we're playing for nothing at the moment from one point of view. But I guess you look at the players and it shows that they actually are playing for something. They're playing for their own pride and all that sort of stuff.
Some of their careers,
their careers, contracts.
Ronnie Burns, so shout out to him. I thought he was actually very, very good yesterday.
He
22 disposals, set the tone early. He was following Goulden around for the first quarter and a bit.
Yeah.
I thought he was very good.
His defensive running was elite.
Yeah.
He runs both ways and he runs hard. As you said, he was chasing all their midfielders around. How's his... he ran back with the flight in the final minute of the third quarter, stopped the Sydney player from marking it. 30 seconds later, on the goal line, he's running next to a player who was going to run into an open goal, smothered their boot. He was unbelievable. And him, and I'd say Webster as well, both out of contract, I think might have secured a spot on the list for next year, just yesterday in itself.
Yeah, there's a chance for sure.
He was unbelievable. But someone I want to talk about who, there's 2 or 3 players that were just unbelievable yesterday. One of them, Dougal Howard. Best game for the club. Yeah. His touch on the goal line changed the game. I truly believe that. We were...
The touch of God.
It was. The score was 28-50 something at the time. And from that moment, it was 9 goals to 2 for the rest of the game. That was desperation. I love to see it. He jumped into the Sydney cheer squad. Also, shout out to the Sydney cheer squad for actually helping him up and putting him back out there. I thought that was nice.
I did find it a little bit funny that the set, like, he tumbles into the cheer squad and then the umpire gives it a goal. And I'm like, just to rub it in even more. Like,
so he was down there for a while as well. I'm like, is he okay?
We thought he wasn't coming back for
like, has he knocked himself out or something?
That's the last we've seen.
Yeah. No, but that was unbelievable. And then, from there, we just went on and continued into our merry way. Well, I guess let's just keep going with it, because another bloke that was just unbelievable, who I think our club has managed so well.
Yes.
Put him in the twos. He's earned his spot back, and he has come back and played. Also, his best game for the club, Matty Philipou. Unbelievable. Lads, what do we think?
Career high game.
Career high.
Just, it couldn't have been better. But bar maybe a tiny bit of polish, couldn't have been a better game. He was fantastic.
Yeah.
All throughout that game. Just his contest work, his marking ability, his run and carry, his kicking, he was phenomenal.
Yeah.
And that's the biggest thing for me, was that he had a big last quarter. I know we'll talk about it and how significant it was, but there's been so many games before we did drop him to the VFL where he would start like a house on fire, but maybe didn't have the fitness or couldn't stay in the game.
Yeah.
He was in the game for 4 quarters. And then he went to a level when we needed him to. When we needed someone to say, hey, we're not out of this game, let's win it. And he kicked that early goal, set the tone.
Absolutely. And we talked about it on the way in, but my favourite moment of the game, where there was a lot of favourite moments for everyone, was after he kicks the first goal, he pumps the logo on his chest, all the boys are getting around him. That's just his way of saying, come on, let's get up. It's only 2 goals, lads. And eventually we did. I love that. A bit of pride, a bit of playing for the jumper. I just love to see it. How is a 19-year-old doing that and no one else, Like, I'm not saying the rest of the team should have lifted. I'm just glad someone did, and it was him,
Yeah.
So unbelievable. And a few of his stats: 26 touches, a goal, 5 clearances, 5 tackles, and 10 score involvements. 10. That's ridiculous.
Was that game high?
Yeah,
it was
definitely.
game high. Yeah.
And also highest metres gained out of any player this round
as well.
714.
Yeah. And
elite.
that's off 68% game time as well. So for 32% of the game, he was sitting on the bench.
That's ridiculous. I didn't know that stat, but that makes it even more incredible what he's done.
And then his last quarter in itself, 12 touches, a goal, and 3 clearances in one quarter of.
He could have kicked 3 or 4 as well.
Yeah. There was a lot of times where we just had chances from him where he just has the confidence to. He has the ball. He's 40 meters out. He knows where the goals are, and he'll send it. Sometimes it might be frustrating because you might think, should have passed that off, whatever. But I love that he just has the confidence to just go for it, I thought that was great. His kicking efficiency as well was really good at times. He was hitting his targets. Sometimes he was hacking it forward, but sometimes just hitting blokes lace out, which was great. And another bloke that was involved in scoring all day was our energy and excitement machine, Liam Henry. Him as well, just every time we got a goal, it felt like either him or Philipou was involved. How good was Liam Henry?
Yeah, and it wasn't like just the cleanest things, but it was just paddling the ball forward. It was his little handballs. It was, I think he set up Sharman's goal. Beautiful run through the midfield with Higgins with the hands.
Oh, yeah.
That sort of smaller group of players that we've got in the front half are starting to cause some problems.
Yeah.
And you know that when we're on top, Liam Henry's, he's going to be a barometer. He's going to be someone that's going to feast off that fast ball movement. There's so many players that we've got, I think, that we're not going to see the best of them until we start playing this way more consistently.
No.
He'd definitely be one of them.
Absolutely. He was phenomenal. And just his endeavour. And he was one of the 2 players that lit the fuse for us. Obviously, the other one being Dougal Howard. They changed the momentum of that game. Just their endeavour, their effort, their intensity. Then Steele started picking up and everyone came along with them. It was just awesome to watch. It was a team effort. There were no passengers, which is what you want to see.
Yeah.
Absolutely no passengers.
No. And for a shorter bloke, I can't get over how good his hands are. For Liam Henry. Like that mark, the Philipou kick to him was unbelievable. Yeah. But he still had to do a lot of work to actually mark that ball.
Yeah.
And
it's contested.
It was a contested mark.
He's a little fellow in tough back line.
And then he finished it.
But even his handballs through crowds, he just reads the play so well. There are very, very few players that have the ability to read play like he can.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Also Howard as well, going off with the blood rule felt so fitting for him, just the way he played, blood, sweat and tears. I hated that he went off in the end, but it also gave us a chance to set up, and then Patton came on and told everyone 5 seconds to go. Let's just kill it. So ended up working in our favour. Also with Henry, I guess we missed him for 8 weeks or something with that nasty hammy. Kind of goes to show that we were probably missing out on one of our key pieces for earlier in the year.
Yeah,
Not an excuse, but it's still like we were missing an important player.
Yeah, you make a good point because you watch him and you go, feels like he's been around for a while, but we've only had him for really half the season.
Oh, yeah. Also, how good was, I don't know if you guys caught it, but his interview after the game, I thought it was good. The way he's talking about the club and the fans and the team's endeavour and how we're feeling as as a group. I really love the way he speaks about the club. But so something as well to talk about. Our midfield, I feel like it is most weeks that we do this, but coming against Sydney's, it felt like a really tough task. And we practically broke even with them. It was 29 to 30 in clearances. They were +1. And then, get this, 63 to 41 tackles our way. I know that's not just the midfield, but still.
Okay, because in the second quarter, I looked midway through and it was 13 to 15 Sydney's way. So that second half differential must have skyrocketed. Because the first half was very low in tackle numbers.
Yeah, and that just shows the elite and immense pressure we were putting on that whole second half. Like, the first quarter was solid. Pretty much all of the second quarter was solid too, outside of those last 6 minutes. And then that second half was just Saints footy. Pressure, move the ball forward, put our forwards in good positions to market, everything like that. I love it.
Yeah. And that's the thing. Sydney was shell-shocked. I don't think they were expecting that sort of pressure.
Yeah.
Because we went to high-end elite and they were sitting at average in that fourth quarter. They couldn't handle it. They couldn't cope with it.
And what's even more impressive is when you look at quarters like 1, Sydney ranked before the game at least were 11th for first quarters. 2, 1-1 after that.
Yeah, they've never had, this season they have not had a scoreless fourth quarter.
Goalless?
Goalless.
And they were goalless.
Not scoreless.
Yeah.
And what did we kick?
4 goals? 3 goals.
3 goals to none?
Yeah.
3 goals to none.
And I think we kept Port Adelaide goalless in the last as well, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I think so.
We did. Yep.
And Brisbane, look, you think about, like, I looked back at sort of our last 5 weeks. We're 3 wins, 2 losses. And our 2 losses are 20 points to Brisbane at the Gabba, 2 points to Port Adelaide. Play that again, we probably win that. Our form's not looking that bad. I think we're building slowly. We're getting some momentum. We're getting some identity back on the way we want to play. Yeah.
No, I like the way you put that. We are getting a bit of identity back. It feels like we want to build our brand. We want to build our culture heading into next year. We know this year's not the year, despite a miracle happening. But I love that the players haven't just given up on the year. Because these games are still important to the fans. The 30,000 that showed up yesterday, we'll talk about that in a bit. But they're important to the fans. They're important to the club for getting players to come and play for us. All sorts of things. Like, there is actually a lot to play for. Yeah. And then, like we were saying, players playing for their contracts as well.
But you can see how important it is to them as well. Like, in those last few seconds, I don't think I've ever seen Ronnie Burns take a vertical leap so high in my life than when that final siren went. Everyone was going berserk. The players were loving it. Yeah. So it means something to them as well. You can see that. And that's important. How
cool is that to see?
It's awesome to see that sort of passion.
Yeah.
Jack Steele was kind of like, didn't do much, but you could just tell he kind of like...
He was saying...
I think he said F yes.
When
the siren went, I sort of mouthed it. I'm like, Jack.
It's not just because we beat Sydney and because they're, everyone's target is to beat Sydney, to match Sydney. It's because we've lost so many close games in that same situation and we managed this so well. Like, we hit the front with 10 minutes to go. People forget that. No goals after that. No goals after that. It was 10 minutes of just Sydney trying to win it and us trying to win it and protect it and manage this game and not lose another close one. And we did it.
We also haven't had like a big win in front of our home fans since the Collingwood game, which was in March or April.
And that was at the MCG,
Exactly.
This was the best win since the Geelong game for me last year at Marvel.
Yeah.
The vibe was the same. Yeah. The crowd,
No, I for sure. There were so many plays. We already mentioned some, but how about another thing on Dougal? His tackle on Warner in the D50, and then the blokes just started piling on top of him. I think two others jumped on him.
Yeah,
like that was just the frenetic pressure we were putting on them. Some of the plays when we were going through the corridor, how nice did it look? And I was saying this to you yesterday, Jake, but I understand sometimes when you mark 60, 70 out, you want to find the perfect target. But see, the thing is in football, sometimes that perfect target is never going to present itself. So what you're left with is kicking it to the top of the square and then rushing it. What we did yesterday, though, was in the right moments when we actually had an option on 60, 70 out, someone would mark it, bang, hit the target straight away and put the defense under pressure.
Yeah.
So many of our goals were from that. There was 2 plays at the end. We had Higgins, the play that led to Higgins tackling the goal square came from a beautiful ball movement through the middle, where went Philipou to Henry, and then Henry just plays on straight away, kicks it to the top of the square. A Sydney player grabs it, but he has no idea what to do with it, and Higgins just goes bang. And that
Ron Marshall's goal early. How good was that end to end? It was I can't remember. We hit up Membry. He's gone long. He knows Marshall's the tallest bloke there. Marks it. Puts us 2 goals up.
Yeah. No, exactly.
And that was a difference as well, that sense of urgency. Like when Wilkie took an intercept in the back line and within 2 seconds he had moved it down the middle. Like it wasn't that boring, suppressed, let's kick the ball around for a bit, then try and work it down the wings. It was just straight away, bang, down the middle, instantly converted in a goal.
Yeah.
No, exactly. It wasn't that chaos, that frenetic thing that we usually do. Like it was chaos, but it had polish, it had class. They knew what they were doing. They backed themselves in. Are you talking about
the Higgins one where he handballs it over the head?
No.
But do you remember the one where Higgins goes over his head to Henry, I think, and then Henry hits Sharman up? That was just another example.
That was in the...
that was awesome.
That was in the third.
Yeah.
As well, something that I haven't heard a lot of people talking about, but I think was quite big for us, was Sharman in the last 5 seconds actually spoiling the ball and punching it out of bounds. He had, I think, McLean on him. Who's number 2 for them?
McLean.
Their backup ruck.
Yeah, the backup ruck,
Yeah. Mate, he has every right to mark that ball. Sharman, has no right to spoil that ball, but he has, and I thought that was a great effort. And him all day, I don't know what the stats say, but he competed. Every contest, he would bring the ball to ground.
Yeah, he was leading to the ball. He was first to the ball so many times.
Exactly. He wouldn't. He would never let them win. He'd always at least give us a 50-50 chance. I really loved his endeavour. And same as Timmy Membry. Again, don't know what his stats were, but his attack on the ball was fantastic. I just thought the energy from the forward line was really good.
Owens did well, in that aspect. Yeah.
I don't want to harp on it too much. I know people are going to come out and say, "Oh, well, that means the Saints are better with Max King." Absolutely not. I just think it shows that when we don't have just one target, we actually are a bit more. We think a bit more about our entries instead of just popping it on top of this.
Well, they see Kingy as the shortcut, and that's not his fault.
Yeah.
That's everyone else's fault. There's no reason why we can't play like we did yesterday with Max King.
And the entries were far cleaner than they usually were.
Yeah.
Like you just don't see players hitting our forward line on the chest most of the time, and they were. But one other thing I noticed yesterday that we don't usually do is we always had a player at the front of the stoppage. Every single time there was always a player there, and that really worked in our favour.
Yeah.
That goal in the last quarter that Sharman waltzed into the goal square and hammered it in after Philipou
from a beautiful kick,
hit him up.
Yeah,
that was like, wait, is there a free kick or something? Because it just seemed like it was too easy.
Yeah,
that's very rare for us to be scoring goals that easy.
Yeah,
it just felt weird. We just walked it in. I was like, it was him and Membry kind of walking into the goals together. I'm like, they could, cherry pick who gets this.
So we caught him on the back foot.
Yeah.
Like, we moved the ball so quickly off half back, and before you know it, Sharman and Membry are free in the forward line.
Yeah.
It happened a couple of times.
Like, that was us in bloody 2020 COVID with Ratner's coach. We were getting teams out there. And how many goals? We were kings of scoring within 15 metres.
Yeah.
I think that partially is why we were so accurate yesterday, was because we actually kicked a lot of goals from that close range, like Higgins free kick, Higgins snap in the last quarter, Sharman waltzing into an open goal. We had 4 or 5 that were just easy.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I
Very
love
rare
to see
for
it.
us.
And shout out to Higgins' defensive tackle. That was so good. That was so good to see. You love to see that from your forwards.
Yeah.
No, definitely. And how about as well the Milne-esque bounce after Marshall?
But the fact it stayed in, it didn't even go for a point, and it just sort of curled around.
It just went on the line.
Even the commentators are just like, oh, this is like 2010 all over again.
Say it, Saints fans.
Yeah.
I went through 3 emotions. I went through he's kicked it to he's missed to it's still in like within about 4 seconds.
Yeah. And then Sydney just jumped on that, and I was like, oh God, here we go.
Oh man,
that bounce. Yeah, imagine Marshall stealing. Would have been amazing.
Yeah, as well, like just a few little defensive moments in the last quarter. We had Wilkie winning the 1-on-1 with Heaney was huge.
That was massive.
That was a big moment. Yep. Some of his marks battle as well. Just really good defensive. We've just come to expect it at this at this point. Also, another one didn't see people talking about, but Sinks and Hilly so well well disguising a rush behind in the last 10 or so minutes. They were under the pump.
Yeah, well, Sinks, it was clever because Hill went basically on the goal line or behind it
and
to
he
receive the
fumbled it. He
handball.
fumbled it
So he was
through.
almost over the line anyway before he got the ball.
That would have felt like the most St Kilda thing ever for us to have that paid. Not that paid, but to make it look terrible the way that Melbourne player did the other weeks. Do a touchdown. And I thought that was just nice senior experience, calm heads in the team. Man, what else, lads?
The only other thing is Ari's potential goal.
Oh, yes.
From 70. Far out. We were right in front of it. I was like, this thing, if that was paid and went through, the roof was going to blow off. It was, the momentum was already with us.
Yeah.
You could just feel it, like the momentum was help carrying it anyway.
That would have leveled the score.
Yeah.
That would have been Ari's first goal.
And it would have been 5 quick goals in a row to us or something.
And it would have been from about 70 metres out as well.
Yeah. Well, give him 2 years, he'll be hitting them from 100.
Yeah.
That boy's boot is unbelievable. Unbelievable.
Late in the game and he's taking kick-ins and you're like, this is amazing.
Yeah.
He doesn't look phased at all.
No.
Like at any part of the game, I'm never thinking he's an 18, 19-year-old that's struggling. Like,
he's got the confidence of a 100-gamer.
That's what I mean.
Yeah, it's his third game. And I don't think he did anything ridiculously unbelievable, but he was just composed.
Just clean.
The whole last quarter. Just disposals in the D50 when we're under pressure.
Yeah.
Even though it's a 15-metre dart, he's under so much pressure, hits it.
The one across goal?
Yeah.
Is that the one you're thinking of?
That and as well, the kick out where he's scanning for options,
and then
no one's there, and then
hits
Dukes is in the middle and he hits it. Another one, he goes down the line, hits Marshall perfectly.
Yeah, I mean, when you've got Wilson earlier in the year playing beyond his years, Philipou coming in now and playing beyond his years, and then you've got Ari and you've got so many other players. I'm sure Garcia will show us some things when we finally play him. Hopefully it's this week if Wendy's out. I think that's probably a straight swap for me.
Definitely.
What, not Bonner?
No, not Bonner.
No, I'm good.
I'm not even going to indulge as a joke.
Yeah, fair enough. Anyway.
I think someone who we almost take for granted as fans is Jack Sinclair. That last quarter was just absurd. There was one moment where he should have gone for goal and kicked him up.
Oh, God, that was...
and then Dave
I think because he got tackled at the same time that he was kicking it, it sort of pulled his trajectory back a bit. So I don't know whether he meant to kick that or not.
Yeah, for whatever reason, we'll give him that one. But that whole last quarter, there was moments where I thought we were going to turn the ball over in the middle, but he would just hunt the ball and refuse Sydney the ball. I loved it. Him and Marshall just all year have been, maybe not Sinclair, Marshall all year ridiculously good, and they deserve to be mentioned every week.
Just give Marshall Trevor Barker Award now, to be honest.
Just bronze statue.
I was thinking about it the other day who would win it, but now you say
it's got to be Marshall. There is no one else,
and he deserved it back in the day. Remember when Seb Ross won it out of nowhere?
Yeah,
that was
2018
Marshall's.
or something.
Yeah, that was Marshall's year. So he deserves one for sure. His goal from 55 out as well. As soon as he marked it, you said he better just go back and kick this.
Yeah.
Beautiful, beautiful kick of the footy.
Yeah. His goal kicking's getting a lot better. So where's Ruckman kicking goals? It's like, oh god, this could go anywhere. But he's getting a lot better. He's backing himself in. Yeah,
and you think of the amount of long bombs that Gawn has kicked over the years and how significant some of those goals are. If Marshall starts adding that string to his bow and he's kicking these long, important goals, I mean, it just makes him even more important.
He's the everyman for us. He really is. He's in the back line. He's in the forward line. He's everywhere. When you need him to be, he's there. I don't know how.
Call Marshall.
Yeah. This isn't a slide on Steele, but I kind of think I want to see Marshall be our captain from next year. Yeah. I love the way he goes about it. Everything he does on the field, it feels like he's listened to. He's like, I don't know. How do we feel about that?
I think something will happen in the off season.
Yeah,
I'm sure it will. I'm sure we'll give the opportunity to someone else. If it's Wilkie, it's Wilkie. If it's Marshall, it's Marshall. I think it's fine. Yeah. I think if it's Wilkie and then Marshall's vice and then Steele's just in the leadership group, don't bother. But that's the thing for next year. That's the thing we'll worry about.
My take
see the rest of the year.
I love Steele, but I think if we should either not change it or change it to Marshall.
My comparison would always be Stephen Caniglio. When he was captain, injuries wasn't at his best. And I think if you take one thing off their plate, let them just focus on their football, he's a far superior player than to what he was 2 years ago. And I think that could apply to Steele as well. Give him one thing to focus on. His body's clearly not right.
Yeah.
Just take the reins off him and the weight off him a little bit. Just give him that
It's a
freedom.
good comparison.
We want to fit Steele firing next season, and we want to fit King.
Yeah.
And that's already...
A fit everyone, preferably.
But but you think the last 2 years we've not had a fit King or Steele.
Well, yeah.
At all.
Yeah.
So having those two would be very important for us.
Absolutely. And an interesting call was no tag. I mean, it seemed to work. But it was just an interesting turn of events, this. So we've got Windy's not tagging, which makes his role in the team, like, where is he going to go? They sent him to half-back, which I didn't think he was terrible. Didn't think he really did a lot. But then all of a sudden, Ben Patton is the sub, which comes out of nowhere for me because there's maybe 2 players on the field that he could replace that he'd go into the position, like Jimmy Webster or, luckily, yesterday, Windhager, because he was on half-back. I still think it is a bizarre call to put Patton as the sub because if he had to play midfield or forward, like, I just don't think that's his game at all.
Yeah.
But yeah, what do we think? Like, putting the injury to a side for a second, no sub and Windy on half-back, how do we feel?
It was odd. I mean, I think Windy's just a midfielder that needs to get time in the midfield. I don't see him as a long-term tag. I don't see him as a half-back flanker.
Yeah.
I think it's just we've got Hunter Clark going through there. No Paddy Dow, so it's kind of like there's his opportunity to be maybe that sort of attacking midfielder.
Yeah.
And if we're not tagging, that's more opportunity for him. But I mean, I don't want to critique too much because we won. Like,
Well, it's not even a critique. It's more just how you feel about that.
I don't feel like it's sustainable for him.
Yeah.
If you want to get the best out of someone like Marcus Windhager, I don't see him as a defensively minded player.
No.
I think we're moulding him in that way, but I don't think that's his natural game.
No. Yeah. And the tag has a time and a place, but we just did old-fashioned football. It was man-on-man football yesterday. 18 tags,
and
so to speak. And it worked for us.
Yeah.
It's hard to tag that midfield because it's like, where do you draw the line? It's
you become too defensively minded. You don't go for the goals.
We pushed Errol Goulden out of the game completely. I didn't see him for most of that game. He was nowhere to be seen.
He had a lot of touches, but
they were ineffective because the pressure was so high. And this was the thing. Sydney were making uncharacteristic turnovers because the pressure was so high.
Yeah.
They don't do that very often.
No.
Definitely. Also, Hunter Clark, I read his stat line. It was like 35% efficiency, 8 clangers. But to the naked eye, I actually thought he played well. I don't know how you guys feel about that, but I thought he was in and under, scrapping, working hard. And the midfield rotation with Sinclair, him and Steele, I really like the look of. Yeah. It was just the most like the best balance I've seen our midfield all year. It wasn't, when we run Crouch, Ross and Steele, it feels like 3 of the same. You know what I mean? So, yeah, Hunter Clark, I don't know if the stat line is interesting, but I thought he was solid, and I liked that midfield rotation. And then Philipou coming in as well, so that was good. So, yeah,
some of his disposal efficiency was really poor, and I think it was just decision-making under pressure that let him down. He's great at getting the ball, and he's great when he's got an uncontested kick or handball, but when he's under the pump, like when we were in just outside our forward 50 arc and he handballed, I think it was straight to Rowbottom, who then dug it inside 50. It's silly things like that. But there's a few players that applies to, like, Philipou had a silly handball. There are a few people who did that, so I'm not going to nitpick here because I think for the most part his game was solid.
Yeah, and you don't have to be amazing every week. He doesn't have to dodge and weave every week. Sometimes you got to get down and dirty and do the hard work, and that's exactly what he did.
And the endeavour was there, so it's hard to criticise players when they're giving 100.
There's no player that I can look at and go, forget stats, just watch the game and just
the
go,
eye test. It's always the eye test. If
the
you
eye
sit
test
back
says,
and go,
great
they gave
effort,
it everything.
all 23, which is just great to see. And I already mentioned the Philipou, hitting the crest, but I thought Henry's celebration, Higgins' celebration after that unbelievable snap.
Marshall's, both of them.
Marshall as well.
Double Cobra. That's so good.
It's like when the boys look like they're having fun out there playing footy, the fans just... the vibe is different.
Infectious.
You know
it's
what
infectious.
I mean?
We feel that.
And everyone was just like, after that Philipou goal in the first quarter, everyone just was... we were 2 goals down against Sydney in the last quarter, but everyone was still so about, so ready for, to keep attacking the game. So.
And on that note, how fun was that to watch? We were fun.
Yeah. That is fun. It's not a hard
Even
watch.
Carlton supporters were coming out and saying, I can't believe I just enjoyed a St Kilda football game. Yeah. It was great to watch. We were awesome. Yeah. It was fun.
What do you think was the difference with this game compared to how we were playing earlier in the year?
Dare. Back yourselves in. They were confident. They
confidence.
they
I
took
like
some
that.
risky
Yeah.
kicks, like Liam Henry in our defensive kick 50, where he sort of chipped it across very quickly. That was a really risky kick, but he backed himself in. A lot of our players did. And I like that. I'd rather you take risk and run for the reward rather than, chipping it around the back 50, trying to work it down the rings really slowly. Like that's more fun to watch.
I love that point because it's like it's not like feel like this big strategic move. It did just feel like the players had better
They just
energy.
played. They just played.
They just went out there and played footy. There was one, speaking of risky kicks, Philipou kicked it inboard. He was aiming for Marshall. He actually missed the kick, but if he pulled that off, we would have gone and kicked a goal. But he didn't. Our defense is sound enough, though. Even though the ball came back quickly, we were able to hold up and we're all good.
Yeah.
And maybe that's a flavour that this team has been missing with Philipou out of the side because he does
He'll
bring
bite
a
off
bit
the.
of dare.
He'll
like
bite
you
off
said.
those kicks. He'll
And
bite
that
them
left
off.
foot kick to Henry in the forward 50. God, that was good.
Yeah.
God, that was good.
Yeah, for
Saw
sure.
him at the corner of his eye, changed the trajectory.
That was a hard kick as well from the angle he was on. It was
Yeah.
basically a snap and went right to him.
Yeah.
Yeah. Can I just say the most random gripe ever? But
Oh, here we go.
the club, it's not the club. It's the boys. The Gatorade shower. We've
come
never
on.
been good at it. Like
I don't think
Ari's
Gatorade
first
even
win, he
is-
just gets a bit of water. I was like, come on, boys, get up and about.
They need to bring the buckets back.
Yeah,
those
bring-
like
big,
Dunker?
big buckets.
Just
Yeah.
something. Everyone, get a Gatorade. I know that sounds weird, but it felt like we had this crazy win, and then the song gets sung with a little bit of low energy. You know what I mean? I was like, get up and about.
Talk about nitpicking.
Yeah, Jesus
Jeez.
Christ.
Well, it's
tough
Buzzkill
crowd.
over here.
Tough crowd.
It's nothing. The performance was brilliant, but I just think it's those little things. I would have loved to have just watched them sing the song, and Ari gets gets a crazy Gatorade.
Maybe just send the club a message and get them to change that for the next win we have.
I'll fax them.
Yeah, it's Saturday night.
Yeah, just send them a tweet out. Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure. I know we've kind of done this every week, but I just want to touch on it quickly. The battle situation. Do we feel different? Do we feel the same? Where are we at after this week?
We don't need to harp on it. The article came out. He said it's in talks. He said that it's with his agent in the club, and he's comfortable with the way things are going. And
Yeah.
I dare say we just got to keep playing that type of football, and that's the only thing that'll.
Yeah,
Give
we
us
got to
that
remember
answer.
it's one win. Like, we can't get ahead of
Exactly
ourselves.
right.
We need to
Doesn't
back
change
this up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just, again, same as last week, feel like some of his defensive plays at the end of the game were just so crucial, and
course.
taking that piece out of our team, it worries me a little bit.
We
That's
can't.
all I'm saying.
As fans, what do? We can't do anything other than turn up and hope that the boys perform and he performs. And if we come to the party and we want to match whatever he's getting anywhere else, then I'm hoping he'll stay.
For sure.
But we don't know.
I think we've already talked about this a lot, but Mosh, back to your best
Yes, Mosh
this
back to
week.
your best.
Yeah.
Who could
See
have
my
possibly
hair's
been?
regrown.
No, do we have the hat?
There you go. It must work.
Sorry,
Where'd the hat
the
go?
hat's been retired for today.
Oh, that's
in
fair
place
enough,
of the
that's fair
hair.
enough.
Yeah.
Well, we won't go on it too long, but we know who it's going to be. It's Matty Philipou with his 26 disposals, 714 metres gained, crucial goal, 12 disposals, game high clearances, I think, or close to it.
Up there, for sure.
Up there, and score involvements, 10
Yep.
game high. So, first game back against... that was very...
Yeah.
Oh, what are we doing, mate?
Yeah.
Good on you. You did well.
Yeah. He's watching right now.
I think... I don't know. Are people going to want us to drop everyone now because we're going to hope the players come back in that type of form?
I hope not.
Because I feel like it depends on the player. I feel like he's
Agree.
the type of player that he knew he needed to go back and hone in on his craft, get some midfield minutes,
He's
learn
also-
to find the football, be confident in his own body.
Yeah.
And the fact that he had that mental capacity to go, I'm playing on Heaney, Goulden, the Chad, and I'm going to do that,
Yeah.
says a lot.
Yeah.
He's also 19,
his
so
own-
it's like
Yeah.
when you if
He
people-
knows he belongs, though. That's
Yeah,
the thing. You love
exactly.
watching players like that where, like, it doesn't matter what his age is, what his experience is. He knows that if he plays to his capacity, he will be one of the best players on the ground. And he was the best player on the ground.
No, absolutely. But like, people are going to jump straight to, oh, well, this is what we should do with King. But it's like there's a huge difference, and like you say, it's different for every player.
And remember-
a 19-year-old
Yeah.
who hasn't played well for a long time and
And
we're
we
trying
did
to
give
put him.
30 games in a row.
Exactly.
So-
He had a chance, but it's also we're trying to grow him in a position that is we would be vulnerable if we put him in the midfield, a month
Full-time.
ago.
Yeah.
And now we're in a position where it's like, okay, we can actually do that because you're building, you're building that part of your game
Yeah.
at the VFL level. So
No, it was, credit to him. But I think the one thing that we just need to be mindful of is he's not going to do that every single week.
for sure.
So let's just, it's a sort of win where you got to have perspective still. If he reverts back to maybe 15, 16 next week and a couple of points, it doesn't matter. You know what I mean? It's part of his journey. But if he backs it up next week and he's getting 20s and kicking a couple of goals, I mean,
exactly.
He's building something.
I think what we want him to be is a goal-scoring mid. Something we've been missing for a long time. Someone who gets in the midfield, breaks lines, and actually kicks goals for us.
100%.
Steele's shown glimpses of that, but
he's the game breaker. He's the game breaker.
Absolutely, and he did exactly that in the last quarter.
Correct.
So, I think it's time for some Jakey's Junk Mail.
Jakey's Junk Mail. Jakey's Junk Mail. Jakey's Junk Mail. Jakey's Junk Mail.
Yes, let's do it. There's it's way more positive these last few weeks. I'm very happy about that. This first one is from Adam. Do you think with the Saints being the number one for scores from our defensive 50, and with the potential that our kids are showing, this would be more appealing to Josh Battle to stay?
Yeah.
Does that have a say at all?
I don't think the performance of the team is going to affect him that much at this point. And I'm not saying Josh is shallow or anything, but I think money talks, and that's going to...
But there's another factor to that, which is Hawthorn's his childhood club. We can't take that away. We can't change that fact.
No.
So I hate to say it, but I don't think it's going to change much at the end of the day. It's up to Josh.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. This one's from Chad. Why is the level of scrutiny around our game style restricting teams from scoring so heavily frowned upon in the media and the AFL community, yet in the same breath, other teams are being applauded by the same sources for stemming the run of goals or restricting teams' scoring opportunities as a tick of approval for their defensive achievements? I can answer that straight away, and I can say I bet you those teams kick on average 14 to 15 goals a game, and we kick 10.
That's the thing, is we don't put teams to bed, we don't kick high scores, and that's where the scrutiny comes from.
Yeah.
You can't...
It's the balance.
You can't sacrifice your entire offensive
Yeah, exactly.
game
You have to be good at both,
yeah.
not just one.
Exactly right. And I think we're getting there. I think we've got the tools that can do it. It's just confidence at the end of the day, and we had a lot of confidence on the weekend, which was nice to watch. We'll go with DC Heel and Lift. That's a fair name. Who comes in for Windy next week? Let's just go around very quickly. I will start. Garcia.
Are we talking halfback or midfield?
Whoever you would pick, you're the coach.
If it's halfback, I'm going to say Bonner if he's right to play. If it's midfield, then I'd say Garcia.
Yep. And
Garcia, easily. Bring him in.
Yep, that's a fair one there. Bryce is asking, do you think we play better without Bonner in the side? I'll just give this one to you.
I am not going to make any comment on players who didn't play. I think it's... Oh, no, genuinely. It'd
a very
be
professional
response. Really, it'd be the same thing about Max King.
Yep.
They didn't play. They're not part of this conversation, and I don't think we should be talking about them. That's just my take on it.
No,
Okay.
that's fair.
Next one's for you as well. This is from Brett, because we were at the game, so not quite the same. BT's performance as commentary, was he good or was he bad?
BT makes my ears bleed. He's the most one-eyed, biased commentator on the planet.
Did he want us to win? Or was he Sydney?
He was Sydney all the way.
right.
But so
Really?
now it wasn't at the end. It wasn't that Saints won. It was Sydney's lost.
Yeah.
Sydney's lost.
Yeah.
Like as though it doesn't matter for anything that we've just won the game. But yeah, horrible.
Yep. This one's funny, actually. My mum sent me a screenshot of this. This was from, I think it's Isla or Isla. Did you know that the Fox Footy YouTube titled Ross's presser as "Positives Following Loss"? It was pre-titled.
Oh, my God.
Positives following loss.
Wow.
They must have had that in the schedule, and they thought, well, Sydney are going to win, so they had it already as a loss.
Can you blame them? Like, let's be honest. Can you blame them? Because I think we were all gearing ourselves up for something.
I don't know.
No, but come on.
They
be a bit
deserve
more
a
professional.
whack for that. And also while we're on it, Dermot Brereton and Kelly Underwood before the game laughing at the idea of us possibly
Yeah,
winning.
that was a bit ridiculous.
But
That's
they
borderline
sung our
disrespectful.
praises at the end. So
Doesn't
in the
matter.
same
Who
vein,
cares? It's so easy to sing our praises after we've beat the best team in the competition. How about before the game you actually properly analyze what's coming up instead
Yeah.
of going, oh, geez, well, you're in for one today, guys. Like, anything could happen. Like,
It's it's people that don't look beneath the surface. We have
Yeah.
not been that bad. We've been in a lot of close games. We've beaten more top 8 teams than Essendon. Like, we're not travelling as bad as some people think, and people like them, they only look at the win-loss. They look at the ladder and go, well, it's 14th v first. Obviously, 14's going to get pantsed.
yeah.
But it's also they're commentators. That's what they do. That's their job. Like,
I don't see them. I don't see many commentators laughing at the expense of another team.
Yeah, me neither.
Like even North against Gold Coast, do you reckon they giggled like laughing that North?
I was laughing
chance?
at Gold Coast because that was funny as Dimmer and Marvel, formidable combo.
That's true.
What do we got here? Okay, Robber is asking, what is the Saints' biggest need in this year's draft? I think we all know.
Yeah.
Midfield minutes. Surely the lid is off from Sammy and also A. Evans. Lid's off. He didn't even ask.
See?
He just said lid's off.
I'm being
it's a
backed in by a strange guy on the internet. Lid is off. We just beat the top of the table team.
Yeah. No, that was pretty
So come on, it's off for at least a week.
This one's from Levi. Playing at Marvel, is that or is that not what allowed us to play the style of game we played on Sunday? Could we have played that sort of fast football with that sort of defensive strength on a bigger ground like the G?
Yes.
Yes,
Definitely.
I reckon even
think?
better on a bigger ground.
You think we
Because
would-
we have more space. The amount of uncontested marks we took in that last quarter compared to Sydney was
Are you
unbelievable.
saying the Swans were lucky that it wasn't at the MCG against St Kilda?
I am saying
Yes.
the Swans were lucky it wasn't at the MCG.
All right.
I'm with you, Sammy.
And they were lucky they got that bounce because it would have been 8 points.
Thomas is asking or saying, just quietly, our run coming up is pretty favourable. Where do you boys reckon we'll finish? I mean,
Oh,
what was my
boy.
predictor? I had us as 10 losses.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're
Is that
on
how
10
many
right
we're-
now. Can we go
On the
undefeated?
miracle run. Oh, my. I don't even want to entertain the idea because it'll become serious in my mind.
From my perspective, we're too far behind at the moment. We're still 2 wins behind Hawthorn,
Yeah.
but we can get on a run for sure, and we can improve our position.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's within the realm of possibility.
Just keep playing like that, and the ladder will take care of itself.
Correct.
Yeah.
This one's from Milky Face, who's back. And I love that Milky Face starts it off with, Milky Face here.
As if we didn't know.
As if we didn't know.
It makes it even better.
Milky Face is saying, Milky Face here, just here to applaud some of Membry and Burns' defensive efforts, praise hands. Or prayer hands, sorry.
Yeah.
Good on you, Milky Face.
I agree. Both those players were very good.
What's your real name, by the way, Milky Face? Can you send that in next week? And
It's such a strange handle. Like,
I know,
it
like,
really is. What's his profile picture?
it's just him with someone... Oh, I've got his real name. Should I release it? No, I won't release it just yet. Takes away the mystery. All the listeners at
I'll
home.
find him.
Max is asking, is Brad Crouch ever coming back? He's just kind of vanished off the face. Is TBC on the injury list?
Well, he's hit his contract trigger, hasn't he?
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
so.
I would say
No,
he would.
He hit it. I'm pretty
Oh, he
sure.
hit it?
I'm
So
pretty
he's-
sure.
He,
yes.
he hit it.
Yeah.
But I think it depends on injuries at this rate.
Yeah. I just feel like we're moving on from Brad Crouch. I don't know what that is going to mean, but it just feels like he's just on the outer and he's not coming back in.
Yeah.
But who knows?
This one's from George, I think it is. Should Cooper Sharman get a statue outside RSCA Park?
For the spoil?
For
Is
just,
that just,
I don't-
or just his
everything.
game?
How good's it? I love his set shots. He celebrates the quickest out
Oh,
of
yeah.
anyone in the competition. The second it hits his boot,
Yeah.
he's already
Yeah,
celebrating.
he knows. He knows it's going
Like,
through.
It's just
Yeah.
dead eye. He's just such a good
Whereas
set
other
shot.
players, it's like,
They have
oh
to wait.
god,
They
yeah, it's like,
keep
oh,
their
it's
heads
bending a
wide.
bit.
Yeah.
They hit Sydney hit the post 4 times, so there was a few of those. Yes,
That's really hard to do as well.
Yeah.
Like really hard.
pinpoint.
And lucky last, to end it on a good note, Greg is asking, could all of the Ross the Boss haters just give him an ounce of credit for our win?
I think
Please.
they have. It's on
Please
every
do.
front page of every newspaper today.
No, that's not enough.
Yeah.
So,
There's a
well, I
lot
mean,
of-
what more do you want?
I mean,
more.
every
Clearly
week.
more.
What I want is for when we lose our next game, whenever that is, for them to not jump straight back off him
Yeah.
and start. That's what I want.
Oh, I said it in I did my 5 things we learned, and one of the things was ignore the outside noise, because I feel like there's a portion of the saners out there that we read and believe these headlines. You know, we're not going anywhere. We're middle of the road. We're in no man's land. We don't have good youngsters. Ross doesn't know what he's doing. He's the same coach that he was 10 years ago. He can't play coach attacking football. I disagree with all of that. I think he's capable and he's doing all of that.
Yeah.
No, I'm with
And
you.
for the people that say, oh, well, you know, why do we play so defensive? Why do we do this and that? It's because he knows the midfield is the midfield. And if we play that way all the time, he knows what's coming the other way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I trust in Ross. Like, we
I
talked about it a
absolutely-
bit already, like, other weeks, but it's like, give it a few more years. If we're still playing like this in 3 years' time, sure. You know,
I don't... In 12 months' time, where will we be?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I'm genuinely asking. Well, that's junk mail, by the way, so thanks, everyone. But I'm asking you boys,
Okay.
in 12 months' time, how will we be sitting here on the potty feeling? Are we talking about finals?
When I close my eyes, I see us raising the cup.
In 12 months.
When I close my
In
eyes.
August.
But
In
unfortunately,
August.
that's...
Or Sydney
Oh,
in
July,
August.
sorry.
It's going to be a short season next year because COVID's coming back. No, but I would like to think that we can play finals, but if we don't, I think I would be content with that as long as we stick to the right path.
Yeah.
So I think it's about like continuous improvement, and if that is we are a better team than we were this time last year, be it we've won more games, we are performing to a certain level of expectation, and say we sit pretty in 10th or 9th, and that's where we finish. We've taken that path, we've backed ourselves in, we are growing as a team. Now, if finals come from that, fantastic, but there's no guarantee because we don't know what other teams are going to look like in 12 months.
Yeah.
You know,
I guess
that's footy.
I'll just make the bold call and say in 12 months' time we'll be in the top 8.
The bold call or the bald call?
Either. We're not talking about bold people after that umpiring yesterday. Anyway.
Mosh back to you. Yeah.
Yeah. Send him the discount code.
Anyway.
Number 15.
No, I top 8 this time next year. I can see it happening.
I've got a good feeling.
People will be surprised at how quickly the switch will get flipped.
Look at Fremantle.
Yeah,
Flying.
exactly right. Lads, I can't believe it's taken us this long to bring it up, but there was 30,000 people in attendance
Correct.
yesterday.
What does that
Sammy made a call last week that would happen. Jake,
What did I
quickly
do?
Now I
shut
can
it
see
down.
I can see the future. Just putting it out there. I believe it was a Bundy, but I believe it was also I get a pet who has
get
a membership.
fish, and then we buy the fish a membership.
Yeah.
Now I can barely keep a cactus alive in my own home, so I don't like
I
my
don't really-
chances with a fish.
Like, I'm very much an animal guy, and I will be
So you don't
wanting
trust me with
regular
the-
updates
Okay.
on this fish. And if you,
I'm
if we got
terrified
any
now.
fish and that fish died after a
Perished.
week, I'll genuinely probably cry for a couple of
Okay,
days.
what's its name going to be? Lenny?
Nah, it's got to be.
So are we going through with the fish?
I don't know.
I will bring it in.
I will trust this guy.
I don't trust me.
I don't know about
Like, I'm just
with
putting
those
it out there.
dreadlocks. I'm not so sure.
Oh, I look gorgeous right now. For those
I'll
who aren't
back Sammy
watching
in.
the video, I look absolutely
I'll
stunning.
back Sammy's fish.
All right, you get
fish
him the
taken
fish.
care of
You
at
get him the
least.
fish.
You lost.
Yeah, exactly. You're
You
throwing
didn't
him
get
under
a
the
fish.
bus.
No, you said
suggested
you'd
the
get
idea.
fish. Go back and watch. and you pointed to me, and he self-appointed me to say, and Jake will get you a pet membership.
So I have to get a fish now.
You get the fish. I get the membership. He gets.
Is a pet membership a real thing?
Apparently, yeah,
No,
I
it
think
is,
it
it
is.
is.
So I can take my fish to the footy.
I mean, if you can fit
I don't
it
know
in
how
your,
far
in
the
your,
Do you reckon I get it past
your Mount
security?
Franklin bottle and just put it in there and go, look.
Yeah, it could be a service
Take a
pet. I can't
selfie.
say anything. If I say it's a service pet,
Yeah.
I get bad anxiety at Security games. Here's
Yeah.
my fish.
All right, fish aside, we'll sort that out.
Yeah,
later.
Getting distracted.
Poor fish.
I just want to say, genuinely though, 30,000 was great. I know Sydney had a lot of fans there. Good
Yeah,
on their
turned
fans for
up.
showing up, but there was a loud group of St Kilda fans there as well, which was fantastic. And something I noticed in player interviews is they kept talking about how much they loved the energy from the crowd.
There you go. Well,
So-
that's why we say what we say.
Yeah,
get to the
exactly.
games, rock up, like this guy, and and cheer on the boys because they can feel it. It directly, they live for that.
No, for sure. Like they if you think they don't notice, they do.
Yeah, get to the games,
boarding.
guys. I had work, I had other commitments, but being at home, there were moments I was saying to Ari where you could barely hear the commentators. It was so unbelievably loud.
Higgins goal, the run,
Yeah.
and snap.
That was the loudest
massive.
Marvel's been all year for
Yeah.
us.
And when that deliberate against battle got called, oh my
bounced
God,
that
yeah,
way.
I thought the roof was going to fly off Marvel.
Mate, that the non-call for Jimmy getting punched in the face, and the call on Heaney. All three of those, that was 2 goals which completely changed the momentum of the game. It was after our run. Was not happy.
Andrew Dillon, umpiring's never been better. Good on you, mate.
Apparently we all know nothing. Anyway, where was I going? Oh, one thing though. If you are going to go to the games, there's just 2 things I ask. 1, wear colours. Please wear. I don't like seeing Saints fans who...
the guy behind us?
Yep. Yeah, because it's usually the same people who aren't wearing colours who are the same people with nothing good to say about the team. I understand it gets frustrating, gets heated sometimes.
Yeah, this one guy, mate, if you're listening, you know who you are. Send me a DM. We have to have a chat. But Liam Henry, I think it was the first or second quarter, runs across and spoils the ball. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
When they're switching it. And I think he then falls to ground.
Yeah.
Because he's running his gut out to win.
Yeah.
The guy behind us goes, that's embarrassing. Like, he's fallen over. Like, get back up. Shouldn't have fallen over. I'm like...
After he's done this huge
he's
run.
He's just run 80 metres to spoil the ball, to put them under pressure.
Yeah.
And you're complaining about him falling over?
I mean, there's fans like that
and
everywhere.
You're not wearing Saints colours?
That just have bolts
But he's
in
also
their head.
sitting there in no Saints colours. So, genuinely, if you knew nothing about football and you were just sitting there, you go, who does this guy go for?
Yeah.
Like, you'd have no idea. So, as my parents taught me, if you've got nothing nice to say, don't speak at all.
Is that what you did when the umpires made those bad calls?
Towards the Saints. Towards the Saints. Umpires, that was terrible. But, no, see, like... Most of the things you say in support of your team should be supportive, right? Isn't that the entire meaning of being a supporter? Like,
Well, exactly. But if you're going to criticise people, make it constructive.
Yeah,
like, it's so easy to say,
this
person's terrible, yada, yada, yada. It's like, okay, great. Well, what's your suggestions? How do they get better? Like,
And that should be conversation, not yelling, bloody hell, Henry, get up. Like, that's just... What good is that doing him?
At one point, we were going inside 50, and I just decided to get amongst it. And I was like, lead, King, lead. There's no options.
Because he was saying, where is Max King? I haven't seen him all day. And I don't think that was sarcastic. I don't think it was. I think he was being serious. Anyway.
Yeah, it was embarrassing. But anyway, moving on.
Moving on. Oh, something else we need to talk about. Sorry, there's a lot on the agenda today. Kane Cornes apparently loves a bit of Saints TV.
Apparently, yeah, that was a bit of a nice little surprise that you sent in the WhatsApp group.
That was actually credit to my brother.
I feel like it was a pot shot at us more than anything.
I was like, you know what, bring it on.
Saints TV
We've had
podcast-ish, he said.
But clearly he's listened to us, so you know what? Thanks, Kane.
Yeah, and then he tweeted and said, love your work. I'm like, another backhander. Very nice.
I
wanted to tweet back and be like, can't say the same, but...
Yeah, I mean, do we take him seriously? I don't know.
Until he comes on this podcast, no, I don't take him seriously. That's a message directly to you, Kane. I know you're listening to this right now in your car.
Yeah.
Go Saints.
I had to say credit to my brother. He was the one listening to it. He ran into my room. He was like, I was on the phone to someone, and I was like, hold on, I'm on the phone. He's like, no, you have to listen to this right now. And I was like, this better be good.
How many fake sips of the Inglewood coffee did they take?
Yeah. Was that a sponsored post?
They'd be
good
fuming.
bands.
Yeah, good bands. But, one take that took.
Yeah, oath. All right, lads. Adelaide, Jakey and I heading up. Sammy, what's your go for the game? You heading up?
As in, what am I doing?
Yeah.
I will be watching it in a pub. I will have the pairs on. I have a few Adelaide mates in Melbourne. Mates is probably a bit generous, but they're people I know who go for Adelaide.
Adelaide acquaintance.
Exactly. Very vocal. But yeah, I know they're bottom 4, and I know it's easy to look at the ladder and say, "Oh,
they're
well,
like us, though, aren't they?
Well, they're under the pump."
Yeah.
I don't necessarily think they've been better than us. They've had some horrible games. I've watched a lot of their games. They were pretty good against Brisbane last night, but I think they will be without Isaac Rankin on the weekend. He's their barometer. He's the game changer. So if he's out, I think we would have a pretty nice chance.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited to see what we can do to back up what we've actually done this week. That's the important thing. We need to... If we don't win but we play the same way, that's all right. But we've just got to back up that format, that style.
Yeah. Just take on the game.
Take on the game.
Bit of
Adelaide
dare.
Oval.
Hostile crowd. They hate everyone who's not Adelaide.
And you know what? We've actually been pretty good on the road all year.
Yeah.
Like we've lost some games on the road, but we haven't been blown out of the water in any single... Our biggest losses have been in Melbourne. Melbourne and the Dogs.
Yeah.
We haven't been embarrassed away from home.
Yeah.
We've been handling those trips.
No, yeah, it's a tough ask going up there, but the way I see them is they've pretty much had the year we've had. Last year they were right up amongst it, very unlucky.
Except they lost to
obviously. When? This year?
Yeah, they got pantsed by Richmond a few weeks
Yeah,
ago.
at Adelaide Oval.
At Adelaide Oval.
So if Richmond are bizarre,
and
aren't
Richmond
they?
took the game on. They played quick that day. They were
And they
really
beat Sydney.
They're last right now.
So
and they beat Sydney.
if they can do it, you know,
We can certainly go
if you
there.
catch them on their day, but this is the thing as well. Adelaide is another team who cracks under pressure. Apply enough pressure and they just break. They're very young.
And we've had a month of playing some amazing midfields in Brisbane, Port, and Sydney.
Yeah.
Adelade's not at that level.
Yeah,
They've
working
still got some
they're
dangerous
they do, but they're
midfielders.
similar to us.
3 top 8 sides right there.
Yeah.
that we've
Yeah.
played. Yeah.
It's more their forward line I'd be scared of because they score very quickly and very
they
easily.
tend to do that against us.
Yeah. I still,
Tex Walker,
I still
career
just
high
feel
stats.
like they were right up amongst it last year, and now it's like, they're having that slide, that dip year. Who knows if they're real or
Yeah.
not? But it'll be interesting to
I'm
see.
excited.
I think there's a few things that I want to see from this game. One, Jack Higgins was fantastic on the weekend. Like goal kicking, just instinct. He plays with it all. It's in his DNA. And I want to see him continue that because it seems to come
He's
once
averaging
every 3
2.1
weeks.
goals a game.
Yeah, he's having a great year. I just want to see more of that because he is the reason we score the amount of goals we do. Without him, the 3 weeks he didn't play, we were scoring like
struggled.
8 goals or something. Another thing, Mitch Owens out of the ruck, in the midfield, out of the ruck. I hate seeing him in the ruck. So many of their clearances yesterday were because Grundy is just 3 heads taller than him. And, tapped it to Warner and he breaks
Yeah,
free.
it was a bad mismatch, wasn't it?
Yeah.
How do you guys feel about that?
Nah, if you're going to put him, if he's in the middle, he's a ruck rover. He's not a ruck.
Yeah.
Pretty simple.
No, absolutely. So we also didn't mention Naz's last quarter. I feel like that was worth it.
Oh, that kick to Marshall to set up that goal was beautiful.
Oh,
And some of his swivels around traffic,
But that's the thing is like we're so used to it now. That's what he does. He's established. We're not waiting for him to prove himself. He's proving it every week.
Yeah, no, exactly.
and
yeah.
what don't you want to see apart from Riley Bonner?
Well, I mean, changes wise, and
Changes?
Not even changes wise. Let's forget about changes, but in terms of gameplay, I would say like we have a bad habit of becoming quite complacent when we fall behind the 8 ball. I don't want to see that, and that didn't happen on the weekend. We were 30 points down. It would have been
Brisbane,
very
we
easy.
kept coming.
Yeah.
And we were down. Port Adelaide, we kept fighting. Yeah, we're starting to have that belief now where 20 points, 30 points is attainable if we play with that speed, with that sort of intensity. You're not going to come back from... like, if we're playing what we did 7-8 weeks ago and we're 30 points down, that's game over.
Yeah.
Because we're not kicking 10 goals.
Exactly.
But if we know we can pile 3 or 4 goals on quickly,
Yeah.
every game's winnable.
Yeah.
And I think it'd be dare as well. Like, I'd rather see you take it straight down the guts than one of these dinky 45s out on the wing and ends up getting turned over. Just, like, take on the game.
Like, the day Ari gets onto a torp,
Oh, yeah.
like, my lord.
Just unleash it.
Mate, he's going to clear the he's going to clear the field at
That's
that
what
rate.
I mean. Could you imagine at half full, like from
Yeah,
half
they'll
back,
need to start
he's
opening
getting
the
it
roof.
20 metres out. Yeah.
Yeah, no, for sure. I don't want us to go back to marking it 60, 70 out and just waiting, letting the defence set up. I want us to keep going quick. Like, I understand sometimes it's just not on, like when you've got no one there. But more often than not, it is. Just put it in. Put the defence under pressure.
Yeah, let someone run onto it. Like, what's the worst that can happen?
I think the benefit of having a medium-sized forward line now is that no player can back themselves to just say, put it on my head.
Yeah.
Because they're not big enough. So they have to move. So Membry's always moving, Sharman's always moving, Owens is always moving, all the mids, Henry, Higgins, they're all going down there as well. We don't have a big gorilla that's just going to say, shortcut, chuck it on me, and then 5 blokes just out of bounds. So I think, I'm excited to see if we can back this up.
Yeah,
I think we can.
Definitely. I want us to bring that same energy where we're celebrating every moment.
Yeah.
Hitting the crest. I just love that stuff.
Yeah, especially the crest.
Yeah, I mean that is I can't get enough of it because it
isn't that the crest award or crest points? Don't you get that with the memberships?
You do.
Yeah, have you got a lot of crest points?
Of course, I'm on it. I've got loads. I've been do this all week. No, I just like because it just shows that someone actually cares that they're playing for this club.
Yeah.
It's not that they're playing footy; they actually like playing for the Saints, which I love. Also, I know they're not going to do it, and people are crying about it, and to those people, keep crying. But the rainbow socks were on. I thought they looked good yesterday.
Yeah, did you see all the dinosaurs in the comment?
Yeah.
In the comment section, I'm like, oh, here we go. They're coming out.
Enough
of these games.
Whatever.
Not
Anyway.
bad when you win them, though.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, don't mind the colourful socks anymore.
Telling me you weren't feeling a bit proud watching that game?
I see what you did there.
Proud as punch. That's the podcast episode.
Oath.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, good
Proud as
title.
punch.
We coming out with that now? We still recording?
Yeah, we're still recording.
Oh, sorry, I was just having a conversation with you guys.
Oh, shit.
That's what this is, mate. This is a conversation.
Saints TV Unplugged. Yeah.
No, for sure. And also, is you said a few weeks ago we wanted to be the Grim Reapers. We're the Grim Reapers of awards. Harley Reid, no more Rising Star.
Heaney.
Isaac Heaney, better not
Nah,
have
he'll
a
get
Brownlow
off. He'll get
after
off. He'll get off.
that. I have nothing against Heaney. It wasn't
I-
intentional,
If I was a
but
betting man, I'd put money down.
Yeah, I would say, knowing
gonna
the
get a
AFL
fine.
and how
He's gonna get a
corrupt they
fine
are.
and say it was silly but unintentional. Off.
it was
Still
unintentional, but it doesn't matter. You've
Yeah.
swung
Well,
a
it's
In every
high contact, you've drawn blood. That's
Yeah.
like...
We
you
just
know.
need Webster's report to come back as concussion, and he misses a week, and then he doesn't get it.
Yeah,
Job
no,
done.
for sure.
Then you bring in Bonner.
yeah, okay,
Job
righto.
done.
We're going with that one, aren't we?
Yeah,
Definitely. As well, I want to see Cal Wilkie have a big game in South Australia. South Australian kid. He's one of those others that we just don't talk about because we just get it every
Yeah.
week. But he's unbelievable.
He is
Some of his
amazing.
Marks is just
So talented.
next level.
Great singer.
And there's a lot of, Sammy, this isn't going to go at you, but a lot of fans kind of go, oh, of course I missed this game or whatever. It's like, well, if you just go to every game, you're not going to miss any of them. You know what I mean? So get down to every game. If you can get to Adelaide this week, get down.
we'll be there, so we'll find a nice pre-game spot.
Absolutely, for sure.
We'll see some Santas.
Anything else, lads, on the week or
Nah, just
the week coming up?
we needed that. We needed that. I think some people have lost faith or had lost faith. Couldn't quite see where the club was going in the direction, but I think, yeah.
They tease you, suck you back in.
They do. They put you back in. I never gave up.
It's great, isn't it?
I've never given up on them, and I think our young core is a lot better than what people think. I think everyone gets caught up on McKercher and Sheasel and other clubs, LDU,
Oh, yeah.
and how they're going, and Hawthorn, what they're doing, and West Coast with Harley Reid. We've got a young core as well, and they're pretty damn good.
Also, side note, we're prime time on Saturday, aren't we, this
Saturday
week?
night.
Let's light it up.
Yeah.
Come on.
And then
Let's light
we
it
got-
up.
Who have we got after Adelaide?
West Coast.
And Marvel.
That's not prime time.
No, but it's winnable.
West Coast. Oh, remember, after this game in
all
Adelaide,
Marvel,
every
MCG,
game at
isn't it?
Marvel.
Every game at Marvel?
It's all Marvel. No
Oh,
MCG,
shit, yeah.
just all Marvel.
Bring it on.
So we'll see how that
Marvel
goes for us.
Mayhem.
It's,
I want to
it's
think,
about
because
to
it was
be.
the Dome of Doom when it was Telstra Dome. What's Marvel? It's the
I don't
Marvel
watch enough
Massacre?
Marvel
The
movies
Marvel-
to...
the Marvel Massacre.
Marvel, yeah.
It's got nothing to do with Marvel.
We can brainstorm this. Or we can
He's like, I
brainstorm
don't
this
watch
after
enough
the
Marvel
podcast.
Universe movies, mate. It's not about the. It's not about the movies. It's
I feel like this is an
alliteration.
off-podcast conversation. People don't want to listen to this.
Sammy, but what is your knowledge of the Marvel in that?
Big
All
Captain
right,
America.
all right. Wrap it up. Do your wrap up thing. Let's go.
Well, no. Thanks for tuning in, guys. It's that was a lot more fun than I think it has
Yeah.
been recently. So let's support the boys, whether it's at home or at the game, and yeah, go you mighty Saints.
Go Saints.
Go Saints.